You are watching the #1 podcast in the whole entire YouTube wrestling community, and I'm one of your hosts, Juanzo.
And I'm your other host, Jean-Paul Leek.
And together we are Road Break. It's Thursday, and you know what time it is? It's time to talk about NXT UK, the best show in the WWE. Always gives us something to talk about. You know, this show always leaves you with like a good taste in your mouth. You just brush your teeth. You know, you got all of like in those sides that you can never pick up, but like if you have the electric brush, you get it all good, because this was a pretty good show. Like always, Paul says, like solid. You know, not extremely great. You know, we didn't see like anything that, oh my gosh, we were blown away. But despite that, we actually were pretty happy with the result of this show.
Oh yeah, and if you know, it's because they build up to stuff. They don't just give us all the legitness every week, because if you do that, then it doesn't feel legit anymore. You got to make things feel special, and that's what this show does. You know, and like you had said, it was just a good, solid, I would say, in between episode. The only thing of like major note was definitely the main event. You know, the tag titles were on the line. But, you know, pretty good episode of NXT. Always delivers. Always, I would say, the best show in professional wrestling right now.
Absolutely. So thank you so very much for every single one that is watching the videos, getting to know what, you know, we're the original Robert. We're here to talk about professional wrestling. Every single brand. We have it. We talk about it. So let's start with AEW, Paul. You know, Le Champion massacres Papa Buck.
Yeah, I mean, this is, like I said, this is just setting up the babyface sympathy. I mean, you tell me how you feel. I could easily see at Revolution, obviously, the Bucks aren't going to lose the belts. Papa Buck's going to get involved somehow, and then at the end, it'll be the three of them in the ring. You know, it'll be legit.
Yeah, I can see it. Yeah,
but I mean,
go ahead.
I was just say, other than that, though, it was a good episode of Dynamite. I thought Hangman Adam Page, Isaiah Cassidy was legit. Britt Baker and Nyla Rose, a good match. And then the main event, Lance Archer and Rey Fenix. That was a hell of a match, about like 20 minutes long. You know, it was a solid episode of Dynamite.
Yeah, I liked it. And, you know, he gets added to the match of Revolution. Also, like, seeing Sting do the Stinger Splash, do the Scorpion Dead Drop. I mean, you know, I'm not a big fan, but at least to see that the guy actually can wrestle. So that was good to see. And also, Paul White is going to be next week. So it's going to be a loaded episode on Dynamite. But please check out Jean-Paul talking about every single thing of this show. And also, don't forget to check us out. Like NXT, Adam Cole finally shows his true colors. You see, like, he wants to go after the NXT Championship. Not a great episode for NXT, aside of, like, the no DQ match with Santos Escobar and Karrion Kross. So your thoughts on this, Paul, really quick?
Yeah, I mean, like you just said, the main event on that show is really the only thing of note, you know, that main event match, and then what followed afterwards with the, you know, big reveal. Like you said, Adam Cole shows his true colors. He don't care about his brothers. He don't care about Undisputed Era. He just wants the gold back. So, you know, we'll see. Like I said, NXT really needs to start kind of, you know, getting themselves back together. They need to take a lesson from NXT UK.
Yes, and, you know, like, we're really quick. We just want to extend, you know, our condolences to the family of, you know, question mark. He just passed away, you know, in the morning. I think Billy Corgan, Jean-Paul broke the news for me. You know, Jean-Paul also like the exclusives. So it sucks, you know, another really good guy, you know, like he actually had a future on NWA. So really sad, but like, you know, we're our thoughts with our family. And also, you know, like Wrestling with Jonas, that's our like partners. Please check us out there, Wrestling with Jonas at Original Road Break. So Paul, let's start out with like Xia Brookside. Xia Brookside had a match with Nina Samuels, you know, like they had like 2 weeks ago, they're starting to hype this up. She wanted the match right away because she just lost. And then Nina Samuels accepted, and she said, well, if whoever loses here, but I'm not going to win. I'm not going to lose, of course. Like, it's going to be you're going to be my butler. You're going to carry my bags for 1 month. So did you like this match? My thoughts, you know, like I think that they don't have a lot of wrestling skill yet. Like their arsenal is not impactful. So it was okay. You know, there was an okay start for NXT UK.
Yeah, that's how I feel too. It was, I mean, both these women, I think, even though they're not the most talented and not like, at least, you know, not saying they're bad, but they're not on a Rhea Ripley, Charlotte Flair, you know, that kind of level, Sasha Banks. But I mean, at least every punch they throw and stuff, it looks like it hits, it looks like it hurts, you know, just like the suplexes and everything. It's good, not like you're watching a Dana Brooke and like Lana match or something, and it's like, oh Jesus, you know, like this is actually, you know, it seems like they're actually fighting. And that's what it was. It seemed more kind of like a fight. There was, you know, just like the elbows and everything. Like, you know, she had her in like a sleeper and she was elbowing her in the face and all this stuff to get out, not just like scream. You know, it was actually like, you know, these two were in a real legit fight. So I like that. And, you know, the feud does call for that. You're not going to be professional and like just do a normal wrestling match. You know, she was going after Xia Brookside's family. You know, Brooksides are only good to carry Samuel's bags. You know, you're just a peasant. You're beneath me. So, of course, you're going to take offense to that and get pissed. I mean, this was good. I mean, just the only thing is, it would have been maybe nice maybe they're protecting Nina Samuels, and that's why, but it would have been nice to see like a, Xia Brookside hit her finisher, 1, 2, 3, get the, clean, decisive win. Instead of like, because Samuels goes to the outside, and I forget what they said that Jabroni's name was, who was carrying her bag. She grabs the loaded, little wallet or purse, whatever.
Like the purse, and then she dodges right there,
Yeah, she kicks it out of her hands, and Samuel's like, oh no, and then she just flips her, rolls her up. 1, 2, 3, like you see there in the picture. But I mean, it was a good start to NXT UK. I don't mind kind of when they start off with these like lower card matches, because it's like, you're gonna save the meat and potatoes for the ending.
For the ending,
yeah. So this was fine. Good win for Xia. I'm glad she won to see the babyface like go over. Then in this little mini feud, instead of Samuels winning and then Brookside's like, so, because like we said, she's someone in the future who I could easily see being NXT UK Women's Champ.
Oh yeah, like she has a lot of future, like you said. Like she has a lot of fandom. Like a lot of people like love her, and like she's lovable. She's a great baby face. She's Bailey, Kylie Ray. Like they all retired Kylie Ray, and all of them combined. Like all like funny, lovey. But like in this match, at least I saw more intensity. She wanted to go after her, and then you see the result right there after that. Finally, Nina Samuels is carrying her bags, and she has to do that for a month. So she's like, And
I love that she's like carrying the bags, and she like falls out of her one high heel, then she picks it up, and then she drops one of the suitcases, and she's like ready to scream, and she's like, just calm down, like just
compose, right? Compose your Paul. You gotta like accept you lost, you gotta deal with it. So like somebody that is not really willing to lose is our boy Trent Seven. He has like you saw like really nice video package. Like it's just pretty much seeing still the journey. Like he is like it's getting up. It takes sometimes is like he even says it's like hard to like keep like they're doing this diet, eating healthier, a lot of vegetables, a lot of fruit. Not really like a lot of like Arby's, none of like.
I was gonna say don't
like fast food, Burger King or McDonald's, all of that.
As I was watching this, I was like, Jean Paul a couple years ago knows exactly what this guy was going through.
Exactly.
So I'm like, it's some days, but that just shows like it's one of the things where it's like, does Trent Seven, does he want to eat that good delicious food, or does he want to lose the weight and kick Jordan Devlin's ass and get the belt? It's like, what do you want more? That's all it comes down to. And he shows it here, running with the dogs, running up the hillside of that mountain, whether he actually ran from his house up to that mountain or if they drove him there and dropped him off and then he just ran. Exactly. Yeah, he ran up Mustache Mountain. I'm sure some women would like to sit on Mustache Mountain.
That's right.
But but no, this was good. I love Trent Seven. If I said I wish the guy would be NXT UK champion, but they put that belt on Monsters, so it's like he's kind of on a little bit of the smaller side. So as long as he wins some kind of gold in NXT UK, I'm happy because
I'm just feeling that because of the promos he's going to end up beating Jordan Devlin, and I don't think that like they're going to go with Santos Escobar and Devlin. I think that Trent they're going to keep like maybe like you said a title for the UK and the title here in America. So
I could easily see them doing if they do another Worlds Collide. Maybe just doing a non-title, like, let's see who's better.
Yeah.
Kind of deal. Like, I'm the real champ. You're the fake one over there kind of deal. You have the bragging rights. Because I do hope they do another Worlds Collide. I thought it was a really cool concept.
If they don't do it like this year, maybe for sure next year.
When things are a little bit more normal and the traveling is easier.
When we don't need to like be worried about like if we're going to get it or not. So like absolutely right. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about now Ilya Dragunov. And Simon Gradwell, so he's still like annoying him. He's still like just complain about him, and also like he wants a match. Pretty much, he's just like pushing the buttons to just get that match with Ilya Dragunov, and he's like, "Oh, you want the match?" And he's like, "Yeah, bro, yeah, mate, I want it." So he's like, "Okay, next week," or like and said it's at some point. So like you see like the rivalry is still there, and he said something as like Ilya Dragunov was like fading, walking away from the camera shot, but like
he called him a yogurt again.
Oh, there you go. See, like Gradwell is amazing at the promo character-wise. Can he ever win a match? We'll see. I don't think that he's Ilya Dragunov is gonna like let him win, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, if I would, like I'd said before, when this, when he was in the match or in the crowd in Dragunov's last match, I said I would actually have Gradwell go over just because I think it'll add more to the Dragunov character. Maybe he gets, or he could even go over by getting his ass kicked. Maybe he wins on a DQ. Maybe Dragunov just beats the shit out of him, and they're like, "Oh, the match is over," and Sam Gradwell wins.
Oh yeah, no, I would like
in that kind of way.
Especially, Dragunov doesn't need to win all the time anyhow, because he's not really in the title contention right away. He needs to build himself, and then once he gets like a number one contender,
and I could easily see him at some point beating A-Kid.
Oh yeah,
I could see him like if they are, because they are defending that Heritage Cup. Like we said, we wish it was a belt, but it is what it is.
I would much rather see that.
And then then maybe it goes to Dragunov, because if
Yeah.
anybody can go the long distance, can hang in those kind of matches, it's Dragunov, especially what we saw with Walter.
Oh yeah, like that would be much better than A-Kid. I mean, A-Kid at least gets the inaugural one. He'll be like, for the longest time, he'll be like named as the first champion of that. So that will be cool. But let's talk about Tyler Bate. Like you said, he has a match. He comes back. He actually went to what is like Johnny Saint. He's like, well, can you find me an opponent? And Johnny Saint did that, and then he goes against Bailey Matthews. For the ones that don't know, that's William Regal's son, and like that's why Jean Paul said that, oh, he's badass, and they gave us in some aspects of the match, it was really good, but like you said, in some instances, in one or two sequences, Tyler Bate did not sell for like Bailey Matthews or like William Regal's son. I don't know his real name, but like that's how he's going to go as in NXT UK.
Yeah, this was really good. I would say if you go back and watch it, probably the first 60 to 70% of this match, Bailey Matthews had the upper hand. Anything Tyler Bate tried to do, he would get out of it. Or anytime Bate got some offense, he would counter him. Just really good stuff. And he wrestles like his dad. I didn't know it was William Regal's son until you told me. As I'm watching this, I'm like, well, this guy's kind of new. I don't remember hearing his name before. And, he looks good. I'm like, this guy looks badass. I'm like, now they always present like, you don't want to say jobbers, because I wouldn't say this guy's a jobber. He lost a contested match. But they always present the losing guy in a pretty good manner, whether it's like a Jack Stars or whoever. They always look pretty good, even though they might lose. But I'm like, as I'm watching this, I'm like, this guy's good. This isn't something where it's like, oh, this is just an elongated squash match or anything. No, this Bailey Matthews is really good. I was like,
yes,
but just the only real problem I had with it was kind of at the end. Tyler Bate was just no-selling a little bit, just because it's like, oh, here's the big comeback. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's just he had to make the comeback. He had to win.
He did the pig, like you said. Yeah.
Yeah, he got sent into the ropes, and then, he, with a big move, I forget what it is, and then Bate came off the ropes and just kind of hit like a kick to the head. And it was just, he just no-sold the stuff. And that's obvious when you're watching a match, that was so contested and was so even up to that point. It's like, well, shouldn't the guy be kind of tired? Shouldn't he be kind of beat up? It's like you should no-sell in the beginning while you still have the strength and the energy and stuff. But you knew Tyler Bate wasn't going to lose. He was one of the ones who, he's the star here, and I hope Bailey Matthews becomes one of those stars sooner than later as well. Because I always say it's a shame William Regal wasn't used better in the WWE. So hopefully they do right by his son.
That will be amazing. So, and also like Tyler Bate is still, he keeps getting momentum. So what is going to be, like he's running NXT UK, like we were saying, maybe another match with like Walter, maybe Rampage Brown, maybe Coffey.
Mm-hmm. And they always keep bringing up every Tyler Bate match. Oh, he lost to his MVC here. Yeah, he's going to be on the Supernova Sessions, my favorite talk show in wrestling.
That's right.
And he's going to be on that next week. And they always talk about how, he lost to his protege A-Kid, the student beat the master. Almost like they're kind of like trying to create a storyline here, like rubbing that in his face, like, haha, you lost. So I'm like, maybe a heel turn for Tyler Bate. I feel like we have a lot of baby faces on this roster, and he would be one who he would be a high profile heel, because most of the heels are kind of on the lower end of the card, but he is a high profile guy, so I would say turn him heel. I think
especially
that would be cool.
Because you don't have Walter, every single week. So like you have at least Tyler Bate, you have like you said, main event guys as heels. You need a few more.
Yeah, because I would say Gallus is. I would say they weren't really heel. I would say they're kind of like babyface, like Joe Coffey and all them. And like you said, Walter, he's probably the highest profile heel. Sam Gradwell's mid card. Noam Dar is. Noam Dar's not even wrestling. You know what I mean? So it's like you don't have a lot of heels. So I would turn Tyler Bate heel, and I don't think he's ever been heel.
No, so like it will be a good idea. So maybe he change the moveset a little bit so it correlates more like a heel. But we'll see. I mean, it will be a good idea, or maybe Dragunov. One of those two need to go heel, because like you said, they need a top guy as the heel in the company in NXT UK. Let's go to a girl that we haven't seen in a long time, Eva Valkyrie. She finally has a match. Remember, like she's a little bit. There's a little bit of she's not distracted, but she's insecure of herself. She doesn't know if she really has it or not, although she's undefeated. She went against a girl that it was really easy in the eye and in the words of Jean Paul, Lana Austin. So they had a pretty quick match, like pretty much showcasing like Eva Valkyrie, because like we know that like Kaylee Ray and Meiko Satomura is going to be the main feud next week. But despite that, they keep teasing it. Hey, like she's undefeated. At some point, they need to give her like a championship opportunity. So what do you think of it?
Yeah, I mean, Lana Austin, I believe this is the first time we saw her. Not,
Yes.
she looked pretty good, like you said, no pun intended. She did look pretty good, but also
Yeah.
in wrestling, she looked good too, but I'm still a big fan of Valkyrie. I would say I did jump ship. I will say, Valkyrie was my favorite, and then Satomura, the final boss, showed up, and I jumped into that ship real quick.
Yes.
So, but Valkyrie's still my favorite, second favorite, I would say, of this whole division. She's so legit. I like this match just because, like you said, it was maybe should have been quicker if this was a month or so ago. But now, like, there's the doubt in Valkyrie. Oh, I don't know, blah blah blah, like unsure of herself. So, Austin was able to get a little bit offense in, and didn't look bad. But, Valkyrie needed to win here. And I love that finish, like the big axe kick from the top.
The power pit, or
Yeah.
like what they call it. Yeah. It's
and so good.
like
And,
a scissors kick.
and I love the line. They say something like, she'd rather, like, learn to fly than stand on the weak branch or something like that.
Yeah.
Or,
Yeah.
it's just like, I just love, like, all the references, to the Valkyrie, the wings and everything. It's just really good. And, I'm glad she won. But I'm just thinking ahead moving forward. If, let's say, Meiko Satomura wins, which I think she will, then what? Is Valkyrie the next feud?
Yeah.
If so, she's probably going to lose, and then that won't do good by her either. So
No, because
and this company doesn't play hot potato with titles.
No, and
So.
the one thing is also like she's undefeated. So if you just do that, that will take away all the the stigma,
Exactly.
all the essence, or like the all the good stuff from like Eva Valkyrie.
Yeah, that's like Asuka winning the Royal Rumble, going to WrestleMania, and then just losing to Charlotte. It's like,
And then
there goes all that mystique.
Yeah, exactly. Mystique. That's the word that I was looking for. All the mystique gone. So like they don't have to do that with Eva Valkyrie. Hopefully they don't. But like I said, she wins the match. We got a promo. But like a new wrestler that is coming to NXT UK, is a guy. Is it the picture of Jean Paul or me? No.
I was gonna say, is that Marco Stunt?
Yeah, it looks like him.
Yeah, because it's a kid. Oh no, that's when he was a kid. Oh, okay,
no.
okay.
This is Marco Stan in real life now.
Yeah.
So like they said, this guy didn't have any friends, didn't have any money. He was completely underestimated, and nobody wanted to be friends with him. Completely an afterthought. Nobody really gave this guy at the time of day, but he's coming for revenge. So we see him like this, like at first I thought it was Daddy Dennis, but I'm like, no, really, they're not going to do that because he looks like him. But like we got to see we're going to get news and we will report on SmackDown who the guy really is. But also like he had a promo, like I said, the story started in Germany. So like that's why they had in German, they had like Forsetun for like I don't want to watch it, but that's like in German, in English it means will continue. And they did the same thing also on Turkish. And also they did to be continued. So like everybody in English, they see it. But interesting. They always have new guys coming up. And
like you said, you tell me how you feel. I like when they do these mysterious kind of promos at first, instead of just being like, oh, here's Jean-Paul Leek. And I'm like, and that's it. Like, make it mysterious. Make it intrigue. Because if you just say, oh, here's the guy, here's his name, you'll be like, oh, okay. But you'll be like, who the hell is this guy? Like, this backstory in Germany. He grew up poor. He had no money. So he has a chip on his shoulder. He's probably angry. He has a lot to prove, but not like a babyface way, a lot to prove. Like he's angry and bitter.
But like with Saxon, they never were able to like.
Oh no, Saxton is just like, oh yeah, Joe Coffey done. Rampage Brown done. Walter done.
Hopefully they do it right. And like you said, the backstory is really great. Rather than they signed in the Performance Center.
Oh yeah, property of WWE Performance Center.
No, thank you. But you're right. So like, hopefully that's what they do. Remember Tyler Bate was asking for a new opponent. So in 2 weeks, Dave Mastiff is the next challenge for Tyler Bate. So hopefully here's when we see the turning of a heel, right? Because it's two baby faces if you think about it.
Yeah, so Dave Mastiff. I mean, just the size of the dude and like how I think he needs to win.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's especially because like when we saw him against Jordan Devlin, he didn't win that match, and that was like, ugh. It's like, I mean, the guy's so big, and you're just thinking like the matchup in real life. Now I know Devlin's badass, but it's like, come on, and then he loses to another small guy. That you got to think, you don't want to hurt Dave Mastiff because he's not like a guy who's like, I always say, like an AJ Styles, somebody like that who it doesn't matter if they win or lose, they're still always main event. Dave Mastiff isn't that, so I wouldn't have him lose here. And then
really high stocks on Dave Mastiff, so they need to give him a win. So maybe this will be the beginning of a heel turn for Tyler Bate. So we got we have Piper Niven and our boy also like right there, like Jesus like to be.
Oh yeah, Joseph Connors. Yep.
Joseph Connors, and she's like, "Hey, where's Ginny?" And it's like, he gets in her face, and he's like, "Well, you always want to be like a girl like Ginny, but you're like every time you look at the mirror, yourself in the mirror, like you're a loser." So they start fighting, and then Ginny jumps her, and then Piper Niven is like, "I want a match with both of them." And then Scala is like, "Well, we cannot do that. We're not going to do handicap, especially with a guy and a girl." So he's like, "All right, then I want this guy." So she grabs Stars, and he's like, "Okay, I want him. So make the match now."
And then I love when she walks away, and then Sid Scala looks at Stars, and he just smiles, and he's like, "Wee!"
He's like, "Wee!" So good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, when Piper grabbed him, he probably loved that.
I would have loved that too.
I was gonna say Juan was probably like, "Can that be me?"
That would be the only moment that I wanted to be Jack Stars for those 3 seconds.
But yeah, it's like, can that be me? But no, I mean this was fine. I'm fine that they set up the match, but again, a backstage attack. Like, do you notice that we watch all these shows? There's a backstage attack on every single show.
Oh yeah,
and no, I'm not saying every single NXT UK show, but I'm saying Raw, SmackDown, NXT, AEW, yeah. NXT UK. There's a backstage attack almost on every single show. I would say main roster probably does it the least, unless you count the 24/7 shit.
Yeah, well,
I try to ignore that.
The other shows at least, yeah, like they're overdoing it. So hopefully they just take away that, they start actually doing other stuff. Because like you said, it gets annoying after a while. It's like, really, like, might as well just have the cameras backstage.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, don't even have it in the ring because all the fighting goes on backstage. But I mean, yeah. I'm excited for this match. I like it. They said it's the first intergender tag team match, so that's really cool. Hopefully we'll see maybe Piper, hit a big move on Joseph Connors anyway. Because I was popped for that. I always think it's like cool, like, especially like when Mia Yim was beating up Johnny Gargano, months ago when NXT was legit. So, I mean, I'm looking forward to this. And Jack Stars, it's cool for him because, like I said, he was the gatekeeper. He was kind of like, I'll just wrestle people. I'll look a little bullshit and put them over. But now he's going to be in a little bit of a higher profile match. So he's starting to move up. So that's
he wants to try to win that match. So that would be really good
for his Piper.
Yeah, but paper, and no, it's not now. No, so we got these two guys, like our boy right there, Williams, and also like Nair is his name, and they're the tag team, and they actually saying, hey, he's cleared to wrestle. Finally, Kenny Williams is cleared to wrestle, so we're gonna be watching the tag team championship match because we're going after that. It's like Gallus, Pretty Deadly. We've seen these teams. We know how they lie. We beat them. Not that we won against them, but at least we fought against them. So we know their style, but like we won those titles, so we're going to be paying close attention to this match. So now let's go to the main event then. Because any thoughts on this?
Yeah, just I don't know what they're doing with this because at first, remember, like Amir Jordan, he got the upset win, and Kenny Williams was like, "Damn it!" Like I wanted him to lose because you kind of saw that there's like the dissension in this team, and you kind of saw it a little bit here too, but not as much. So I don't know if they're still playing that storyline. I hope they are. I hope they just didn't drop it because the one thing I always like about this show is they stick to something. They're consistent. So we'll see. I mean, that's what I think they're still going to go because you see Amir Jordan is all like, and then Kenny Williams is like.
And remember, he goes like when he gets clear, and he's like, "Whoa, I just found out that I'm clear now, yay!" So yeah, like hopefully they don't drop that. I agree with you. Hopefully, like they stick with that. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
So let's move to the main event. Gallus against Pretty Deadly. Your thoughts on this match? I think that like this was like they gave it enough time. I think 15 minutes it was, but like I like that like at some point you thought Gallus was going to retain, and then Pretty Deadly made a really nice comeback.
Yeah, I liked Pretty Deadly in this because, like we said, the past, when we saw them at the restart of NXT UK, it was kind of like, oh, these guys kind of have like a Breezango UK vibe. Let's see what they do with them. And we saw them, and it's like, okay, like they lack maybe the intensity a little bit. They're kind of like not cowardly, but like sneaky heels. We're like, where's the finisher? Where's the spilled milk? And they're like, well, don't cry over spilled milk because it's right here. And we're like, oh, okay, legit. And, they showed the intensity in this match, and they had to against Gallus. Gallus obviously has a size and strength advantage. I mean, these guys are probably just as tall, if not taller, than Gallus. Yeah, they're so height-wise, they're all pretty even, but Gallus, you obviously see the weight and the strength advantage, so they had to, use some tactics. And like I said earlier, Gallus, to me, is babyface because especially with the tactics we saw in here. So that goes back to my previous point. We need more, top profile heels. But I mean, this match was really good. I like, they pretty much isolated Wolfgang, Pretty Deadly. Like, I don't think anybody saw that. If you go like in the world of kayfabe, like, oh, nobody saw Pretty Deadly dominating them this much in the beginning. And, then Coffey gets a tag, he starts looking good. And, when, who was it when they sent him over the barricade? Was that Coffey? That was Wolfgang?
Yeah, right here. I have it for you right there.
Yeah, I mean, that was
a
good.
Really nice move, though. Stock, I think, is the guy. Like, he slaps a Wolfgang. So, like, he starts running, and then Wolfgang starts chasing him. And then the other guy from Pretty Deadly goes and does, like, a really nice upper hand, and then sends, like, Wolfgang outside of the barricade. That was a really great move. And that really started, like the dominance of Pretty Deadly. That was the ending sequence of the match. So, I really like how they took him away.
Oh, yeah. And then I like the title thing just because it solidifies these guys as heels. They grab the belts. He throws one. It was who was it? Sam Stoker and who's the other? But Lewis Howley. That's it. So they each have a belt. He throws one to him, and the ref is like, oh, he looks at the one, get that out of here, and they hit that big spinning DDT onto the belt, and then they're like, oh my god, the ref didn't see it. He's down. Which I think if you watch the replay, I don't know if he really hit too much on the belt, but that's all right. It was fast enough,
he
whatever.
Didn't even get him a lot, but for the storytelling, like you said, in the world of kayfabe, he completely got it. Yes,
exactly. And then they hit the spilled milk 1, 2, 3, and I actually didn't. When they hit it and they covered him, I'm like, is he gonna kick out? Like, I really didn't think that they were gonna actually do the title switch here. I'm fine that they did because it adds some new things, to the tag teams. Now you can have baby faces chasing and stuff. Like our boys Flash Morgan Webster and Andrews could go after the belts again and stuff. So I mean, this was good.
When you and me get to 1,000 subscribers, family.
Exactly.
So please,
so family, help us out. But,
help us out.
No, I mean this. I'm fine with this. But now, going back to what we said in the Sasha Banks Broken Skull session, check out that video if you haven't already.
Right.
It's like it's fine to drop the titles, but it's what are you going to do with the people who lost the belts and the people who won the belts? Do you have a plan for them? We can't just see Pretty Deadly doing nothing. We can't just see Gallus standing behind Joe Coffey with their arms crossed and they're just like props. They got to actually be wrestlers. Oh, we want our belts back. That was a bullshit finish. We got DDT'd on the belts. The blah blah blah. Like, let's see something like that. So, I mean, this was still a good match. I don't mind the title switch, but like I said, we got to see where it goes from here.
Exactly, like we gotta see. I just love the fact that they say Gallus, but something that I want to just tell you, and you probably know this already. Every time that in a wrestling show you drop so many data information, so many statistics, that means that there's going to be a title switch. And what they did with Gallus, the longest tag team champions in NXT UK history, 496 days. They said it's gonna I was like, okay, there's gonna be a title switch because every time that they point that out, it just means that somebody else is going to take the title. I
would say the only person who's immune to that curse is Walter.
Yes,
because every time Walter comes out, 600 some days, 800 some days, 5,020. He was like Bruno Sammartino, 4 years. Okay, Walter.
And if you think about it, also Jean Paul, it's the first time that we actually see a title switch in NXT UK since the restart.
Yeah.
So that made it even better. So we got to see finally Pretty Deadly winning the championships. It's cool. I think, like you said, we mentioned this before. It's not a bad idea. Gallus had their time, but like you said, hopefully they actually start fighting, trying to they just lost. What do you do now? You got to go in the back. And then just start building yourself up.
I think they will, because even people who we've seen lose feuds before, Piper Niven, Dragunov, to name a few, they're still featured on the show. They still want to get back to the top or have another opportunity at being on the top. So, this brand always does right by everybody. They treat them legit. So I'm not worried. I'm just curious as to see where they go from here.
Where they go, exactly.
But also, one quick thing and note before we end it. I love the designs of all the belts on this brand.
Oh yeah,
I don't know how you can
let's give a close up right here.
I don't know how you can have all these belts, the tag belts, women's belt, heavyweight championship, how they all look so good, and then you go on Monday Night Raw and it's just a big W.
Oh yeah, it's so exactly. I agree with you. And also, they had a promo just very quick, hyping up the match for next week. Kaylee J against Meiko Satomura. So they kind of went again with the press conference and all that. We already
if Meiko Satomura loses, Jean Paul is done.
Yeah, see, that's the he already says he's already saying that if he loses that
I'll be like Paul White. I'm jumping ship.
Yeah, he's gonna show up in like AEW again. So like, we'll see what happens. I wouldn't mind another title switch, but like, are they gonna do it back to back weeks? I'm not really sure if they're gonna do it.
I really wish there would have been just like a pay-per-view coming up.
Yeah,
I don't know. Maybe they're waiting for crowd. Maybe because they can smell it, like The Rock. Maybe they know it's coming, so they're like, "Hey, crowd is on the way." Because the crowd is going to be huge. It'll be huge for any wrestling show, but the fans were always
any event outside.
The fans were always so passionate for this brand.
Yes.
The fans lost their minds. British fans are always the best. Even WWE, over here in America, they say they love going to the UK because the fans are so passionate.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Maybe they're waiting for a takeover for that, but I really wish a lot of these high profile matches would be on the takeover rather than just on network or free TV
and then soon Peacock. So, soon Peacock. So family, this pretty much wraps it up for like this NXT UK review. We hope you guys enjoy it. Don't forget to do us just a big favor, like the video, subscribe, hit the bell for notification. Every single day we put content for every single one of you. And where else can they find us?
And to make sure you also follow us, Rope Break on Facebook, the OG Rope Break on Twitter, Original Rope Break on Instagram, and of course, right here on YouTube, the Original Rope Break.
So family, tomorrow we have a day because we have Smackdown for every single one of you. We're live. So 15 minutes after the show is over, we'll be Jean-Paul and myself talking about every single thing about Smackdown. So we'll see you then. You and me have one more thing that is left to say, and that is...